It is extremely heartening to see a positive ecosystem taking shape.
It was probably one of the best integration experiences we've had in that arena.
Using Fortellis as the bridge within CDK, it has advanced us to outperform the competition.
Another DMS came to us and wanted to do an integration through Fortellis to actually really simplify it to be able to use a lot of the same functionality, features, integrations that we did with CDK to bring them on board.
Welcome everybody to the latest live InVent from Fortellis. Today we're going to be talking a lot about actually connecting with and working with APIs. Just a few pieces of station keeping. If you notice the chat over on the side, please do me a favor. Pop in your name and your city and maybe even who you work with. We'd love to share that conversation and keep things going. Throughout this InVent, we'll be monitoring those chats as questions come up. We'll do our best to try to answer those questions either with myself or with some of our guests. If we don't get to all questions during the InVent, keep in mind too, we will also want to reach out to you to make sure your questions are answered. Once again, thank you for coming. We'll see if a moment here, if we get anybody that pops on and says hi. The chat's kind of quiet now. Come on guys, wake up, wake up. I know it's Wednesday, the week's half over. This particular InVent, as we mentioned, was designed to allow us to get a better understanding of Fortellis APIs in general. During the event or after the event, be sure to visit fortellis.io. Check out our API directory. We are continually rolling out new and exciting APIs that you and your team can work with to try to innovate, connect, and make a better automotive experience for everybody. I know that we're excited to see some of the exciting pieces coming out from CDK, a lot of great CDK APIs out there. We've also added a lot of wonderful third-party APIs, APIs from a variety of different sources. And I can assure you that there are more exciting ones to come in the very near future. Today, though, we're going to focus on an API that I thought was fascinating. My background, just for the record, I grew up in Akron, Ohio, so I have a close affinity to the rubber industry. My grandfather worked for B.F. Goodrich. My father worked for Goodyear. So I'm a tire guy kind of at heart. And when I saw the opportunity to see Fortellis offer a tire wheel and fitment system that would really make it easier for people to go ahead and select the right tires, I was just blown away by the concept. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and let Richard tell the story a little better about DriveRight. So enjoy this next little video, and then we'll bring Richard on right after.
I'm Richard Bailey. I'm the CEO of DriveRight Data, and I'm also the founder. I started off in the early 90s working in motorsport, Formula One, British touring cars, rally cars, IndyCar, and working in the marketing departments of those companies. I got to know the technical people that work with the supporting industries. So the wheel manufacturers, the tire manufacturers, all became friends and associates of mine. Our APIs allow dealerships to connect with their customers and build customer loyalty. We've worked with dealers in the UK, we've worked with dealers in France, Germany, New Zealand, Australia, and supplying this sort of information. And it's very empowering for them. Our information is used throughout the life cycle of a tire. So we will work with a manufacturer to a wholesaler and down to the retailer. We have dealer groups or have developed relationships with the wholesaler themselves. Cutting out the local retailer gives them ownership and control of the vehicle maintenance, which is what their customers are after, improving that customer journey and improving their standing with that customer. We saw the opportunity to work with dealerships. They have a need to maximize all of their revenue streams. We saw Fortellis as the platform to deliver that information because it's flexible, because it's adaptable, and it enables us to deliver fitment information, which enables the retailer to provide a great service for their customers. I was involved in some of the early conversations around how we would structure the cases for each of the potentials. Every meeting that we've had with Fortellis has been incredibly productive. They've been successful, and we've always had the positive outcomes that we felt we would have from the beginning. By using our data, dealerships can build customer retention, can build loyalty with their customer base. It's very empowering for an individual to have access to that information because it essentially turns all of your staff into salespeople. By supplying accurate fitment information, you can improve communication, you can improve the standard of service that you're supplying to the customer, and increasing the revenue that you receive from that customer through that loyalty.
Okay, we're back, and I'm going to go ahead and bring Richard on now from across. Richard, you're here from across the pond.
I am.
And
Hi,
are you guys in lockdown in outside of London still?
Yeah, I've been locked down for, I think it's a year now. So these four walls are becoming very familiar.
We had a great time doing this video. And as I mentioned, I've got a strong affinity for the tire industry, so it's always great to have you on. When we talked a little bit, we did a real kind of a high level discussion there, and I know we're going to get a little deeper into things as we go. Do you want to just tell me a little more about maybe at a high level kind of what each of these APIs do, or maybe what one of them does a little bit?
Yeah, so it enables a retailer to drill down from the vehicle information that they have to accurate tire fitment information, and that's tire information which has come from industry knowledge. It's not tire information that's come directly from the manufacturer. It's where we've learned over the years how to structure that data and deliver it so that a sale can be completed.
It's fantastic. You know, in the video, you talked a little bit about your racing heritage, and I got to ask, of all the different formats, what's your favorite and why?
If I'm sat in it, it'll be a rally car, because the rally drivers are just utterly crazy. But for sheer experience, it's being in the pits when they start up a Formula One car. It's almost Neanderthal, the feeling that you get with it.
Wow. So do you have a rally car yourself for personal use?
No, I'm too old for that and uninsurable.
I had the opportunity to sit in a Formula One racer a couple of years ago at an event, and boy, separate from just the insanity of the explosion of power and everything, just to get locked into that little teeny space and have to bolt that wheel on, I can't imagine the insanity of the power and how that power has to be. All that power goes right to those wheels. It makes those tires such a critical part of the process.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the most important part is the bit that's touching the road. Somebody once said to me, it's like a fighter pilot trying to keep a fighter on the ground, and that's what it's like. And yeah, the tires are the most important bit, as with all vehicles, because they're the bit that's in contact with the road.
Excellent. I'm going to go ahead and bring you back into the green room for a bit, and we're going to jump back over to our next segment, but hang on because we're coming back for that roundtable, and I'm going to remind everybody in that chat, if you have questions for Richard about the DriveRight API or tires in general, heck, he'll even talk a little racing if you want. Go ahead and put those comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Rich, we'll see you back here in a couple of minutes.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, Brian.
So speaking of fighter pilots and speaking of people that are just animals, I'm going to bring on next Brandon Boyd. He's on our team and he's done a fantastic job of trying to take an idea of an app himself and then bring that app into Fortellis, and then from there actually connect to a Fortellis API using the DriveRight API in this example to create a possible app idea that I think is pretty exciting. Before I do that, I want to give a couple of shout outs here. Dave, glad to see you're in from Connecticut. Crystal Lake in the house. Ron, which Crystal Lake? I used to love to go dune racing in Crystal Lake in Michigan, if you're that far north. I've got a couple of other people. Thomas, glad you're here. Mackenzie, glad you made it. Ted, Dave, Sydney, Emily, Adam, we had a whole crew here. Keep those questions starting off. And when you're in between videos, if you've still got another tab open in the LinkedIn page, I put a question out there. It's a great question to think about. Where did you actually buy the last set of tires for your vehicle? Did you do it at the dealership? Or did you go to a tire store like a Goodyear store? Or did you just go to like a big box store like Costco or Walmart? Would love to hear your feedback to see where people actually have bought them in the past. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and bring on Brandon just for a second, put him on the spot here. He's at our offices in Portland. Look at you.
Yeah, it's good to be back in the Portland office. My first time back is today because they have a real stable internet connection here, so it's a good place to be.
Excellent. So I've got my stopwatch here. I'm going to put it up on my phone, so I'm ready to go. We're actually going to talk about the idea of an app that you came up with, and you're going to show us in 5 minutes how you go from an app concept, describe the concept, and connect us all the way through to actually connecting to the API and having usable data, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think part of that's through the power of video editing and some of that stuff. But, I think what's really important to understand is the concept here, which is, can we iterate faster, coming up with app ideas that make a difference for the dealer at the end of the day? And hopefully, I think through this example, we'll show a little bit of that, and hopefully something that a lot of you on the call will be able to replicate yourself the next time that you have an idea for either a product feature or a new product entirely that you'd like to get out there into the market. So yeah, this has been a really fun journey.
Cool. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and we'll stop talking here and we'll let the video tell the story. I got my stopwatch on. Let's see if we can do this in 5 minutes. 3,
All right, let's do it.
2, 1.
What I want to do today is walk through just a simple use case and then just really show from the ground up how you can make an application idea and kind of turn that into a reality. In terms of the use case, you drive into the service lane, get that license plate information. We'll go ahead and query these DriveRight APIs, and then we're going to get those proper tire size for that car. And the only thing that we have to do is capture the license plate to get a tire size. At that point, we need to check the sizes of these tires that we get returned and figure out, do we have these tires in inventory? Maybe even have the ability to add tires and wheels into our inventory. And that kind of completes the circle of the business case and provides a basic application that we can use. We're going to go ahead and hop into Fortellis at this point. All these APIs here are part of that tire fitment API group. And so if we look at this one, I want to get vehicle data by license plate. You can start to see, oh, what does this API do? It's going to give me a VIN, an ID number related to a specific vehicle license plate in a state. Well, that's kind of fun. So I look at the specification and I see this is the URL that I'm going to access with my API call. And this is kind of the meat of it right here, right? I'm going to send a plate number and a plate state. It's going to give me back something that looks like this response down below, which says 2011 Ford F-150, certain VIN. Here's the plate number and state. And then all of a sudden, we've got a lot more information about that vehicle. There's some other APIs that they do too, which combines multiple functionalities together. So this is the really cool API right here. And this one gets basically the same information passed to it. And then basically from that, it's going to get you all the way down to what they call a vehicle ID number and transmission ID, a configuration of the vehicle ID as well. And so this is going to be pretty rich information that we can then turn into the tire and wheel size information. For us to be able to put this into action, so right here, I've created an application called Tire Shop. And basically all I have to do is select inside of here all the APIs that I want to access that are available on Fortellis. And then it's going to give me basically my credentials at that point once my application is accepted. It'll give me an API key and secret. What that's going to do is allow me to start making API calls through Fortellis. If you're not familiar with Postman, basically what it allows you to do is to do some sample API calls and test and chain those API calls together to start getting relevant and workable data back. So the first step in that process is to actually generate a bearer token. We're going to hit this Fortellis endpoint, and then we're going to pass our username and password that we just received here in the Fortellis screen. And I'm going to pass that information down through this generate bearer token API call. And from that, it's going to give me back this access token down below. And that access token just gives me access to these raw APIs. Here's one that we just talked about, the OE and AM vehicle fitment data and license plate. So here, if you look at the parameters, I'm going to send a certain plate number with a certain state and make that API call. We make sure that our authorization here is inherited from the parent, and then send the GET request on to the proper endpoint. Now at that point, it's supposed to give us some relevant results back. So it says HTTP status of 200, which means that the response worked. And now we see all the information down below. We've got the plate number and state. We can verify that information. And we've got, a Peterbilt truck, and it gives us all the information down below. Now, what it also gives us is this configuration ID, engine ID, and stuff like that. So we can then pass that on for more information. So right here, DRD model ID and chassis ID. This is just a little bit of a different endpoint that's available through Fortellis and DriveRight. And from there, we're going to start to get the really good information that we need. So we're going to get from that point, tire size, what kind of load, speed index, rim size. And so all this information is extremely relevant when it comes to selecting specific tires and wheels. Now, the third API that we're going to use is one that gets us up step wheels by chassis ID. If you've seen a lot of people driving around lately, maybe with a larger truck or something like that, you can actually get some pretty big tires and wheels on certain vehicles. When you use this endpoint, it basically is going to give you how big and how small of tires and wheels can you actually fit on that vehicle. What we're trying to do is automate a lot of these steps along the way by doing a license plate capture and presenting those offers to the customer, giving them the opportunity to buy tires and wheels from the dealership.
Awesome, we're back. You caught me multitasking there. Hang on, let me switch screens here. Trying to respond to questions on YouTube at the same time. It's been a hoot. Hey, again, great job. I counted 4 minutes and 59 seconds, so I would consider that to be a success.
Me too, Brian. That's perfect.
I'm going to go ahead and bring everybody on the call here together. And at the same time, let me bring back up my YouTube screen. Like I said, you guys caught me giving instructions to one of the team members out there. Cool. So if I can just ask a couple of questions that caught my attention while I'm waiting to see other questions come in. The VIN to plate data, that's an interesting one. And I did a lot of inventory work over the years, so VIN data is always interesting to me. Is the VIN to plate data available just in the U.S. or where is that information available for?
Well, we actually run vehicle registration plate systems in 14 countries around the world. And for the US, the plate to VIN is available. In Canada, we have a VIN-based system, and we're very close to launching a similar system in Mexico.
Excellent.
So it's it's very comprehensive. Because we have access to a lot of global registration databases, we can extract a lot of information from VINs and the data that's held within them.
Awesome. And I'm going to stick with Richard here. You know what we talked about? We talked about your favorite racing car. You look at a lot of different countries, and you mentioned that. Can you tell me kind of which countries seem to be ahead of the game as far as offering point of sale tire sales in dealership? You know, any one country jump out to you that's excelling more than others?
Well, we've been doing this for 20 years now, and we see changes and fluctuations in the marketplaces, and it's around the adoption of these new technologies. The pandemic has changed people's thinking dramatically, and before, probably a year ago or 18 months ago, we were seeing some interesting changes in the UK and seeing those coming across, but we're beginning to see that it spread globally. So the interest that we get is South Africa, Indonesia, and so on. Ultimately, a tire size is an international language, so they're the same globally, and it gives us a footprint which gives a credibility to our data.
Excellent. I thought that was really cool, Brandon, how you tied back in. You started off, you kind of went to Amazon and kind of looked at some standards to kind of build out your database. And then we did the test, and you wound up with a Peterbilt truck, which was a little different probably than the F-150 you drove across the screen.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. I mean, it's nice that the data that comes back from DriveRight is comprehensive like that and can cover different use cases from light automobiles all the way up to heavy truck. So that's pretty cool.
Excellent. Did you run your own plate to make sure it worked too?
I didn't do that yet. I don't know if I paid my registration this year, so we'll see how that goes. But what I thought was really cool about this whole experience though is, as someone that has built an automotive application before, a lot of what is challenging about it is getting access to the data in the first place, right? How do I find the relevant data that I need to build my next idea or my next application? And in years past in the auto industry, what you've had to do is some pretty lengthy contract negotiations, a lot of manual work, a lot of back and forth to get access to the APIs. So what was kind of fun about this experience is actually getting to experience how quickly you can go from just the idea phase up to having data returned through Fortellis, and that whole experience was cool to get at in terms of experiencing it myself. So that was really fun.
And while we did the magic of editing to get that under that 5 minute mark, spoiler alert, yeah, I actually made sure it was under 5 minutes. Um, all the capabilities are there. This is not just a concept. This is an actual API that I could go in today, create an app, say I want to work with DriveRight, sign up all the necessary paperwork. DriveRight can turn things on, and I can go to town. This is not just an idea. This is live. It's ready to go right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what's fun about it too is you can more quickly iterate on the ideas that you're having. So let's say that, I wasn't 100% sure this is going to work out, but I think this might be a good idea. I can, on a per API call basis or a very limited basis, I can start to test this stuff out and just to make sure that it provides value for the end users. Like Richard had mentioned, there's a lot of changes that are happening in terms of retailing with the global pandemic. And it's important that we iterate fast during this time. And I think whoever does that or has the ability to do that will have a competitive advantage in the marketplace. So this stuff is extremely important. And obviously, I like to nerd out on the data side a little bit, but hopefully you guys are able to follow along a little bit. And we can obviously follow back up with you if you have any questions about the process or how to get successful.
Awesome. Hey, Richard, can you kind of tell us the difference between the data that dealerships have today versus the specialized data that's in DriveRight? Just maybe at a real high level.
Yeah, so our database is designed to provide tire information. It's built around delivering correct tire information for that retailer. We've actually worked in the past with some global manufacturers to backfill their own tire information. So if you ever find yourself driving an Audi in Europe, it's actually using tire information which has come directly from us. So we found that vehicle manufacturers don't necessarily have the correct information to give this after sales data. So it's built from after sales experience. So we know what tires should be going on these vehicles.
Awesome. You talked also, if I could stick with you, Richard. You also talked about some dealers in different countries that are using this application now, that have built an application using your API and have kind of cut out that wholesaler piece. Can you elaborate a little more on how that's helping to improve the customer experience?
Well, we actually, I was on a call a couple of days ago with one of our retailers in the UK, and he had seen a 48% increase over the past 9 months as a result of having tire information actually available on his systems, whereas he was expecting the whole industry in this country has seen a 10% decrease. But he's actually seen a 48% increase as a result of having that information available to him, which surprised me. I was expecting an improvement, but not that dramatic an improvement.
Wow, that's great stuff.
Yeah, and I think Brian, what I think, especially in the U.S., the way that I've seen it in the past has been the dealership isn't necessarily the first place that you think about when you're looking to upgrade your wheels and tires, especially if you want to really customize your vehicle. And so you might go instead to a tire distributor. You might go to if you want to try to get a great deal, you might try to go to a big box store like you were talking about, Brian. But you don't necessarily think about the dealership on the front end because number one, you wonder if they're really the experts in wheels and tires or if they are experts in other things. And then also, are they going to be able to customize things to the level at which I'd like them for my vehicle? And I think what's cool about exploring this data set and some of the things that it unlocks is that, when you can see the range of tires and wheels that you can use with a specific year, make, model of vehicle that drives into the service lane, at that point in time, you can start to surface a bunch of different offers. And that's kind of where we were headed with this application was, can we see not only the wheels and tires you have today? Sure, you could upgrade those to a basic model, but what if you were to make it look really nice, right? What if you were going to upgrade and make the rims bigger, or you're going to go to a higher performance tire? Is it possible? And can I see that on my screen? Can I see these wheel and tire options? Because, you know, if I win as a customer and get some nice looking wheels and tires, the dealer can also win by capturing some of that value, some of that revenue in a situation where in the past they might have really missed out on that before, or they're not even capturing that or getting those upgraded wheels and tires.
Awesome.
Yeah, can I jump in there, Brian?
Yeah,
Because
please.
it's worth mentioning that giving this data sort of closes the loop for the customer. It's about replacing that tire, but it's also giving the options. We see winter tire applications, we see high performance applications, and so on, and all of that data is included in there as well. So it enables the dealership to give the complete service to that customer.
Yeah.
Closes the loop.
That makes sense. Yeah, like every couple of years I lease a different vehicle, and I always find myself wanting to customize it, even though it's a lease. You know, I got my last Dodge Charger, and the first thing I did, I said, oh well, I want the rain guards on the side, I want the flap guard, the mud guards on the bottom, and I want Mopar parts because I want something that's going to work right with my car. Had I looked at that and said, you know, I'm going to go with the bigger Brembo wheels and I want to put, you know, low profile tires on, I would want to make sure that what I'm doing is up to spec, the same way I anticipate, you know, those mud guards fitting picture perfect. So to me, it seemed natural to just want to trust the dealer to make sure that the parts that are on there meet those OEM specifications.
Yeah. Well, from my experience, my car, every time I have it serviced, they send me a lovely video of them servicing it, and then they say you need to go down the road and get some new tires. It seems ridiculous.
I need to go to that dealership. Can I send my car? Can I send that over on the boat? It'll take a while for that next oil change, but I kind of like the idea of watching the video of it all happen. It's really cool. Hey, a couple of questions that were popping in there, and I've had one or two people, Brendan, actually ask me, you know, about getting involved in the platform and, you know, getting that first API key and actually trying that. I know we talked about it in the video, but could you just give like a little reminder on that workflow?
Yeah, we kind of went through it a little bit fast, and we will provide the video after the fact, so you can sort of follow along to that process as well. But in general, there's only a couple of steps that you need to do. The first one is to register for an account on Fortellis. So you can just Google Fortellis sign up or something like that, or go to fortellis.io and sign up for an account. And once your account's approved, you have the ability to start to invite in your colleagues if you want to collaborate on something as a group and create an actual organization within Fortellis. What it does is it certifies your tax ID number and different things, just to make sure that we have registered companies that are actually doing business for a level of trust. But you know, after that process, basically you can create an application inside of the developer network, and at that point is where you start to get your key and secret, and you can actually start to connect with live data. If you actually navigate to the API directory as well on Fortellis, it shows you, like Brian was talking about, a list of all the APIs that are available. And once you click on that API, you can actually click a button and add that API to your application. And you're kind of off to the races at that point. Richard and his team would get a notification that someone is interested in the API. And then if you'd like to have a more detailed conversation with them and their team, they'll be able to direct you in the right way, just to make sure that all your testing goes smoothly and things like that.
I tell you, looking at this as a non-coder, one of the coolest things about that API spec, I went in and I opened up the documentation. I'm like, wow, a simple flow chart, something that even, you know, a marketing guy like me can figure out quickly. They really do a good job of breaking down the high-level essence of it before digging deep into the information that you really need to be able to make the most of those APIs. So kudos to you and your team to really doing a great job of documenting everything.
Oh yeah, don't say that. They'll all want pay rises.
We'll cut that out of the archive version.
Yeah,
thank you. Right now. Hey, I've seen a lot of great questions in the chat. I know we didn't have time to cover everything. We only have a couple of minutes left. I'd like to at least give each one of you guys a chance for any final thoughts. Richard, any final thoughts or any comments about Fortellis? I mean, would you even recommend to another provider that's doing APIs to be involved, and if so, why?
I would definitely recommend it. It's an easy platform to integrate with. The support that we've had through the process has been amazing. So thank you to you and your team, but obviously no pay rises for them. All in all, it's been a great experience and yeah, very professional.
Excellent. Brandon, any last thoughts from you?
I do have some last thoughts. I would say, this has been a really cool experience, and we're kind of looking at other ways that we can improve this application in the future and provide some code examples for you guys if you're looking to expand this out into your own use case. So if you're interested in something like that, you can send us a message or hit us up on LinkedIn or anything else, and we'd be happy to talk further with you guys. But Richard, I appreciate your time today, and Brian, thank you for helping to put this whole thing together. It's a lot of work, and I hope you guys found some value from the whole thing.
Awesome. Richard, thank you for doing this. I know we're after hours on your end, and Brandon, watch out, because we might do another one of these. Let's see if we can go from 5 minutes to 4 minutes, 30 seconds on the next hour.
Absolutely.
I'm going to talk faster next time. Awesome.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, guys. Just a reminder once again, a lot of the information that you're looking for you can find on the Fortellis website. So feel free to go ahead, check out fortellis.io. If you've not created an account, go ahead and do that. Our YouTube channel, by the way, has some great how-to videos on how to do this. So if you can hit that Fortellis YouTube channel, that's a good thing. You'll learn a lot more there. You'll also get some testimonials and some interesting facts about the product from other people who are actually using the product today. Our app store is continually growing within the marketplace. So if you've got a great new idea, now is definitely the time to get in and get involved. If you're a dealer, maybe you're looking at this and saying to yourself, wow, maybe we need to build something internally. The beauty about this platform is that it can both service the needs of those existing providers and new providers with great ideas. Like I saw some payment folks and some other great people out there. If you're a dealer, maybe a larger dealer group, and you're thinking about trying to leverage something internally, this is the perfect tool either way. We look forward to helping you and helping to continue to collaborate, connect, and and innovate within the automotive space. And on that note, thank you again for everyone joining, and happy selling.